Hello and welcome to the 167th installment of the Synapse Misfire Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, joined by our other host, Jordan.
It's me, baby.
Jordan, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
We have big news for this episode.
We do.
Yeah. You know what? We got a segment this time.
Another one.
Another segment.
That's dose.
That's
back to back.
2 weeks in a row we got a segment.
Back to back.
We're almost content creators.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know how the show goes. We're going to shoot the shit for a little bit. And then we're going to try the scandalous, controversial Walmart self-rising crust pizza.
Yes, if you don't know what we're talking about, last episode segment.
There was a whole
big.
conspiracy
It was big.
about how we read reviews for food from Walmart, and everyone in the reviews for the Walmart self-rising crust frozen pizza, specifically the pepperoni variant,
Yep.
they were all up in arms about how it changed and it's gross now.
Crust doesn't rise. Tastes like shit. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, we bought one. We got to try
We got one
it.
cooking right now.
Yeah, it's going right now. And we got to make sure that it's, if it's actually bad, we'll tell you about it.
Yeah. So, as always, before we begin, you can find us. Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and the RSS feed all linked below. It's also YouTube with a video platform, Spotify with a video platform, and then as always, contact us via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Send your comments, your questions, concerns, and death threats, as well as, most importantly, Little Kitty Big City news. And don't forget, Instagram, TikTok might have something there. Maybe, perchance.
Maybe.
And I'll give you a little Easter egg. We're recording this intro after the episode.
Little production secret there.
Yeah, a little production secret. So, this cut, I apologize for how shit it's probably going to be.
Jordan, do you want to talk about what happened to you?
Yeah. So let me bring you back in time. Let me go rewind the VHS.
Let's jump in the time machine.
Yeah, fucking beep, 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 beep. Oh, Chris, it's 1865. Fuck.
1865. They just made what illegal? I gotta make some phone calls.
Yeah. Phone call. I love indirect humor. It's funny. But all right. So a couple weeks ago, at this point, it's like by the time you hear this, 2 weeks ago, I had some plans after work to go out with the engineer boy, my coworker, my other coworker, and then two of our significant others. We're gonna go out. The plan was, because not everyone's schedule aligned perfectly with timing, there was going to be a 2-for-1 special. I was going to go to my new coworker's house and drive his WRX with Engineer Boy and Letsy in the back and just cruise around and get a feel for it, right? So we do that. Good time. There was a little police encounter where we parked at a university campus just for me to get the feel of it. Instantly, a cop showed up and was like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, there's people in a parking lot. They must be doing something suspicious.
Yeah. So I just took off from there right away. I was like, I told them, I was like, do you care if I just take this to the street? Like, once I took off and saw that I was fine, I was like, I'll be fine on the street. Like, if you're good with it, I'm good with it. So.
You know, it's nothing quite like Jordan hanging out, handling another man's stick.
Exactly. That's not what hurt the arm, though, unfortunately.
That would be, I think, a dangerous stick handling.
It would be.
Especially considering it's the wrong hand.
I know.
You had to, do one of these.
do a little twisty twist. I rode backwards, actually. I was facing the rear. I was driving in reverse.
That's why the cop was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, pretty much. So we just leave. We hit the street, drive around. All right, cool. Park. He takes over. We go to the restaurant, meet the people, have a good time. He's like, hey, I remember I told you at work, I just built that crazy fucking PC. If it was a $5,000 computer, he said, do you want to see it? I was like, yeah, I'll see it. Whatever, let's go. Letsy was cool with it. We hop in his car. He brings us back. We had to go there anyway because that's where Engineer Boy dropped us off, so his car was there too. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. I get out of the car. I'm holding the food. I'm walking, and his yard is all snow because it had just snowed, New England things. And I didn't know there was going to be a sewer cap there under the snow, so I stepped on it and I fell in a hole, like a 5-inch drop or whatever. My feet slip out from under me. I fall. Now, at this point, admittedly, a little tipsy. I had 2 drinks at the bar, at the restaurant.
You're lucky you didn't break your ankle, if that's the case.
Yeah, and that's not why I fell, mind you. I was totally walking fine. I just fell in a hole. But the reason
it didn't help things, I imagine.
The reason I bring up the drinks is because priority number one was I was holding everyone's food, so I held that with my right hand, and I don't know what I did with my left hand. I don't know if I planted it. I don't know if I caught the food underneath with this hand. But all I do know is in the days following, I started getting like little flashbacks, and I remember wiping snow off my hand. So I must have either fallen and put my hand down, or after falling, stood up by putting my hand down to like stand. I don't know where the snow came from. I'm going to have to assume it's from the fall. So my theory was I probably had like a little bit winter. I assume I probably had like a small sprain in my wrist. The next day, went to Lexi's dad's. We were chilling. We played Fortnite all day with her little sister. Like, it was a great time. Came home. Sunday, I'm like, my wrist is kind of sore. So then I'm like, it's the fall. Like, whatever. Even my hip was a little sore from where my ass cheek ate it. So I'm like, all right, cool. And sure enough, it got like worse. And then worse. And then it was like, it's sprained, like whatever. So I asked Lex, like, can you just use my insurance card to get me a brace or whatever while you're out? She's like, yeah, whatever. Goes, gets me a brace, put the brace on, had it on. And then all of a sudden I'm like, can't feel my arm. It's weird. Like I can't feel my hand very well. It feels like it's like
usually alarming.
You know that feeling when you have like one limb underwater? Like have you ever sat on the edge of a pool and had your feet in? You get that weird like tingle down your ankle at where the water line meets. Right. It was like that, and I'm like, that's fucking weird. So I take the brace off and I'm like, I can't move my wrist. It's like stiff as a board. And I'm like, that's not good. So I start kind of manually flexing it, and I'm like, okay, it kind of hurts, but I get it moving. I soak it. I'm like, okay, I can move it, but it hurts, so that's good. So, needless to say, week goes on, it gets worse and worse. I'm like, all right, fuck it. So I go to the nurse at work. I'm like, hey, should I like ice this? Like, what should I do? Right? What do you think? And she's like, try a hot compress if you think it's sprained. And I'm like, cool. Well, that was a big mistake because it ended up not really being sprained. I put a hot compress on it and it just fucking exploded. All the way up my forearm. I couldn't. Jesus. I was just in pain. So I went back to her. I was like, hey, I'm getting.
Hey, you fucked up.
I was like, hey, I'm getting pain in my forearm now. I was like, why would the pain move? And she was like, ooh, maybe it's actually a compound, like a hairline fracture. I'm like, all right, whatever, no big deal. I have to get X-rays. I was kind of putting it off to see if it got better. I was like, fuck it, I'll get X-rays. So I get the X-ray, and the doctor's like, nope, X-ray came back perfect. It seems like it's tendonitis. And then he shows me, he puts right like where a watch would sit, like on your wrist pivot point. He puts his hand there and he asks me to raise my hand, and he like kind of forces it a little, and he just goes as it raises all the way. And he does it again. It didn't hurt really at that point because I had iced it a bunch. So he just kept doing that, and he kept going. And he's like, you hear that? That's your tendon rubbing into the bone. He's like, so it's tendonitis.
What the fuck?
I was like, oh, fuck. So now it's like super stiff. It hurts. And he's like, it doesn't get better in like 5 days. You need to go to your doctor and you might need surgery. I'm like, oh, great. This is cool.
Yeah, I knew something was up before the reveal happened because Jordan gets out of his car and he had this big shit-eating grin on his face. and he goes, hey. And then he gets up and his arm is in a sling.
Yeah. So
and I'm like, what the fuck happened to you?
Yeah. So I got the brace. I got the sling. Dude, work sucks balls even more now. Trying to type like this.
Dude, yeah, that's crazy.
And I'm also trying not to like overexert my hand to type because then I'm just going to hurt my other hand. So I'm like,
yeah. No, I feel like for a long time, my carpals have been getting tunneled. So every like few weeks or few months, I have like a really bad flare-up where just everything from the tip of my middle finger all the way to like the middle of my wrist hurts like crazy.
Yeah.
And, every time I'm like, I gotta mention this to my doctor. And then every time it's long enough that I'm like, maybe it won't happen again.
And then
it always happens. So I just take like a Tylenol and just, I just thug it out,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's fine. I'll live.
I had no idea this was even a thing, too. Like, I used to know more about medical when I thought about becoming a nurse, and then I just was like, I'm not going to do that. So I stopped learning about it. So I hadn't realized acetaminophen only works in the brain. So for inflammation, you actually...
it doesn't actually help anything. It just
mats... whatever, shuts off the receptors, blots them. That's the word. And ibuprofen actually works on muscle, skeleton, and it's actually an anti-inflammatory. So that's what I've been taking. Right. I got the prescription strength ibuprofen, baby. 600 milligrams.
Damn.
Straight to the brain.
straight to the dome.
As you can see, there's no...
I really do this
side
shit.
Effects.
There's no...
Oh, my brain.
You're just like the one episode of Jimmy Neutron where your brain's like swelling.
Oh, fuck. But yeah, so that's pretty much what happened to the hand. I just hope it gets better. But I told Lexi's dad, I was like, dude, honestly, I wish it was a fracture, because if it was a fracture, I would, number one, know exactly what it was. And
I could just call it a day.
You splint it up, it heals, bone heals stronger. But now it's like, okay, this is tendonitis. I'm 22. If I live to 70, I have 50 more years of probably this happening like once a year. And that is so infuriating.
Yeah, you know.
I'm just going to cut the tendon off. Who needs a hand? I just have a hand like this.
Oh, this is my... Jordan, what are you doing? Oh, this is my trick hand. I kept getting tendonitis, so I just ripped them out.
Can't get itis of the tendon if you don't have a tendon.
Yeah, it's kind of... I kind of got to... And I can do it with my other tendons on my other hand. Replace it with like rubber bands or something.
There you go. I'm just going to cut the arm off and get a servo-motored arm.
Honestly, prosthetics are getting to a point where, like, I don't think you'll have the finger dexterity if that's something you're interested in. But you'd have, like, a pretty full range of motion.
Yeah.
So
probably more than I have now, because I can't even, like, turn my arm over. I can just do this.
Yeah.
I'm like a servo at the moment.
Yeah, you're broken.
I was playing too much RoboCop.
Every bad thing is happening to you, Jordan.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I said, too. I was... Oscar's urn is on our mantle under the TV or whatever, so I turned to it, like, when I first was, like, in a lot of pain one of the nights. I think it was the night I went to the urgent care. I like, looked at it, I said, you're an asshole, you know? Like, you started this, you fucker.
You and then started this.
Letsy hit me with that, actually, Noggin died first. And I was like, I don't care.
I don't care.
I was like,
that's crazy.
I was like, it still started with that little shit there.
I think there's gonna be a situation, you know, what's the next situation? Jordan accidentally trips and falls face first into unexploded ordnance and dies.
I'm gonna go, that's a landmine.
A thing that happens to like 3 people a decade in the United States.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
trips and falls.
Yeah.
And gets blown up by unexploded Civil War ordnance.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I could see that happening. I told Oscar, I was like, bro, if you want to just, like, come back, possess me, like, slit my throat in my sleep, that's cool. Like,
yeah, honestly, you know,
like,
I feel like maybe a poltergeist is next on your list. So
yeah. Now I have my wisdom teeth out in like 2 weeks too, so I'm gonna be just fucking mollywopped.
They're gonna hit that 1 in 500,000 chance that you don't wake up from anesthesia.
I'm not getting anesthesia actually.
Oh,
I'm doing
damn.
local.
Oh, that's crazy.
Not even for that reason. I was just like, eh.
They didn't even give me.
I have a high pain tolerance.
They didn't even give me an option. Like they were just like,
really?
we're putting you under.
They're like, big boy,
right.
we don't want you fighting back.
They gave me fucking horse medicine.
Did they?
They gave me, because I was like, wasn't sure what I was getting. I was like, I know they're knocking me out. And the doctor was like just talking to himself as he was putting everything in this like little fucking syringe. And he was like, I want to put in X amount of ketamine. And I was like, ketamine? That's for horses.
And he goes, exactly. And then he hits the plunger. You're like, you mother.
He's like, all right, fat boy, we got to give you horse medicine.
You want some hay when you're done?
So I was munching on carrots. I was just sitting there in a K-hole while they were ripping my teeth out.
Chris forgot to mention, this was done on a farm. He didn't go to the dentist.
Yeah, I went to a veterinarian for that.
That's so
funny. That was the only place that had a chair big enough for me.
A fucking whole stable just to yourself.
A horse doctor. They had to lift me up.
You get your fucking horseshoes replaced too while you were there?
I had
scrape the bottom of your feet
on.
off.
The farrier came in and scraped my cheese off my feet.
Oh, fuck. That's gross, dude.
Horses are gross animals.
Horses are gross.
We used to ride these things into battle.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Arthur Morgan's horse, whatever one you pick. He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or she. That horse is aight.
Fair. I'm a big stan of Buell.
Buell's pretty beast, yeah.
He was the one who I took into the end of the game last time I played. I never finished my new run, by the way. I didn't think I was going to, so I haven't finished it.
Yeah, it'd be really funny if instead you just had modded the game, so instead of like that sort of like, thank you, boy, sort of reaction you get, the horse just gets hit with unexploded ordnance.
Civil War unexploded ordnance.
The horse is just in pieces, and Arthur's like, oh, man.
Oh, shit. I broke the goddamn horse.
It's a bunch of jagged polygons. He said, I broke the damn engine.
Oh, fuck.
He looked at the camera, they're right at the screen, he's like, hey, player. Reboot the game. It's broken.
Reload the save, man.
You reload the save and he's just taking a bath. He's like, why are you in here?
This is my house.
Yeah.
It's just that one video of Roger Clark going, I got some jelly beans. You want some jelly beans?
I'm gonna make that my fucking Steam Deck a boot up animation. You can change it to a movie. Someone put the entirety of Shrek on their Steam Deck animation, so when you boot the Steam Deck, it goes like, you know, how it usually goes doo-doo-doo.
And it definitely doesn't.
It.
I imagine it definitely doesn't boot until after that whole thing is played.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
I'm gonna do that with Oppenheimer. Well, I gotta wait 3 hours before I can use
The thing
my Steam
dies
Deck.
before you can even play it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. You have to boot it plugged in every time.
Oh man.
But yeah, so I'm broken. Chris, what have you been up to?
Well, firstly,
Long time no see, pal.
Firstly, I have to correct the record about something.
Wait, you were wrong? Since when, Chris? You've
I
never
was
been
wrong
ever.
inadvertently.
You've never been wrong, though. This is unprecedented territory.
So I want to address something. Last episode, I referred to the condition of being unable to speak as being mute. I have recently found out that's not exactly a great term for it. Apparently, that's not.
Really?
That's. I thought that was like a medical sort of thing. Apparently, it's very outdated and is considered kind of offensive now. The term you are supposed to use is nonverbal.
Yeah.
And if that was offensive, I was ignorant to the situation. I will admit that.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
I just
I
got
didn't
to
know that
address that up top, just to make sure I get my due diligence in.
Yeah, now you're canceled, honestly.
So the nonverbal community, I imagine, would not make too much noise about it.
I don't think they'd say too much. Have too much to say about it, honestly.
So
I feel like, honestly, though, like, I've come to realize that, like, the amount of stupid shit you hear on a day-to-day basis, like this podcast, admittedly, being deaf wouldn't be that bad. Like, if you were just deaf.
fair,
like,
yeah.
You wouldn't have to hear
there were times
anything.
I wish I was deaf.
Yeah.
There are times where I wish I could just. I wish my senses were just modular. At times, I could just go and unplug my ears.
It's like in Cyberpunk when you get your eye removed.
Yeah.
To get the new optic, and you just go blind, and he's like talking to you.
Yeah, I just go and unplug my ears and be like, finally.
I would love to just be like, go into BIOS, shut off my fucking ears. But all right.
Oh, damn, I corrupted the firmware for my eyes. I can't see shit.
I don't know how I'm typing right now, but yeah, no, that's true. Well,
I have to address that because this podcast is nothing if not as unoffensive as possible.
we're inclusive.
And definitely not offensive at all. Yeah. We've never said anything bad.
No, actually, surprisingly not. I mean, we even let weirdos like Alex on the show just out of pity.
Honestly,
just
yeah.
to bring awareness to his issues, you know?
You know,
The
balding, being named Alex.
I bet Alex's hand isn't broken right now.
I don't know. It might be.
I mean, he does jerk off a lot. So.
You know, well, it hasn't gotten me yet, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's my non-dominant hand, so I can't even have that joke made, too. Someone made that joke, and I was like, yeah, I mean, it works up until you realize I'm not left-handed.
Damn.
Although, I think Bud Light Boy had it. I think he had it. He was like, oh, would you sit on it too long? I was like, that's a good one. That's a good use of it. That's a good one right there.
Fair.
So, you know. So I slashed his tires.
Naturally, I beat him to death in the parking lot.
He's dead. Yes. No, but...
So, I gotta mention, as well, an update. Something. I mentioned a couple episodes ago, I played a little bit of Baldur's Gate. I played like 2 hours of Baldur's Gate.
You played with whose balls?
Durs. I played about 2 hours of Baldur's Gate with some friends, and then I didn't touch the game much after that. And then I was like, I'm bored. So I booted it up, and I'm like, I'll try this out. It's a pretty far departure from something I would play, just in the style of how the game works. Mm-hmm. It's like the turn-based combat. It's very like just a tabletop game that they put on the computer, basically.
Yeah.
That game is kind of dangerous, man. There were between last weekend, I think I played 16 hours or something of the game.
Damn.
And I was like, fuck, this game is dangerous. Yeah. I could definitely see how people would play this a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. That game's really fun. Every time I go out, it's an adventure.
Yeah.
It's like a whole separate adventure. And it helps also that the game kind of doesn't give a fuck what you do.
Oh, yeah. Or who you do, for that matter.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of freedom, and your custom character doesn't have any plot armor whatsoever. Like, you can complete the game you could die reasonably, and just everyone else carries on. So that actually did happen a few times, because like I'm not mastering the combat of this game. Again, like I said, it's a very far departure from something I would ever actually play. So I'm still kind of trying to master the turn-based combat situation.
Yeah, and lining up your turns with each character and stuff.
Right.
To maximize.
So I have characters die on me frequently. And they have like death is kind of a rare scenario, like real death.
Yeah. It's unconscious first.
Yeah, they'll they got no health. Your character has to throw a saving throw, and I think if they miss it 3 times, they die. Like, that's great.
Or if you critical fail, actually, you get -2. Counts as 2 fails.
I had to pull out the actually.
Yeah. Listen, I've actually never crit failed in D&D. My sister has a lot on a saving throw. I don't think I've ever actually crit failed though.
Damn.
I don't die a lot. I'm kind of a beast, but you know.
So I've get into all kinds of hijinks in that game. It's a good time. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to get into any like story elements, just in case people haven't played it.
Yeah.
It's still well within the grace period of being avoiding spoilers.
Yeah.
So I don't want to talk about
and with the scope
story.
too. It's like The Witcher. Like even if The Witcher was 6 months old, I feel like that had a bigger grace period than something like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, like Assassin's Creed, I would say you get like
a week.
You get like 3 months maybe max.
I say a week, dude. Not like that shit made sense.
A game like Baldur's Gate or like God of War or like one of these huge Red Dead 2, you get like a year, I think.
Yeah. Before you can just throw it out there without a warning.
Because if it's been more than a year, I feel like if you wanted to play it, you would have played it already.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's how I feel about a lot of the stuff we talk about. I still throw them out there because I know a lot of our friends and my coworkers and your old coworkers listen to this. So, like, some of them are just now getting into, like, the PS5. And so I don't want to be like, so remember that scene in God of War? Like, I know Alex still hasn't beat Ragnarok. So I'll always give him the warning. But
yeah,
I feel like at this point, honestly, I feel like Ragnarok's kind of, like, getting close to fair game.
Yeah.
I never will. I'm a big fan of spoiler alerts. So I will always say, like, if I can remember a spoiler alert, but...
Yeah, I've been pretty good at unintentionally avoiding or like just avoiding spoilers through no real. I just don't consume a lot of games media, so.
Right.
And even like when I do encounter spoilers, it's never like super crazy stuff.
Yeah, believe it or not, Arthur Morgan's death was spoiled for me.
That's crazy.
It was spoiled, but it was still up to debate. Like, it wasn't like a dead set. Like, I didn't click on a video and see him dying. It was like I think it was a suggested search on on Google. I looked up like Red Dead 2
Arthur
treasure
Morgan death.
Yeah, like that's like what it was. It was like Arthur Morgan, and then I think I typed in like Arthur Morgan something, and then death came up, and I was like, oh fuck. But like, you can do that about anything. Like, you can type in Cal Kestis, and death will come up, and he doesn't fucking die.
I predicted the tuberculosis thing while I was playing the game. I was like, oh.
You said you caught it right when it happened, you thought, didn't you?
I think, like, because I was like, something was significant about that interaction with Thomas Downs. Because, like, there's something significant about that. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, 1800s, it makes sense for this guy to die because it's really John Marston's story. It's like, it makes sense for this guy to die. 1800s. Probably tuberculosis. That guy had a cough. He spit in his face. Probably. And then I was like, oh shit. He starts coughing. He goes to the doctor. He goes, he's got fucking TB, doesn't he? He goes, you've got tuberculosis. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
God damn it. I knew this was gonna happen. I was still upset about it.
Yeah. Did you have you seen the theory? I kind of agree with this theory. I think a little bit. Maybe not like 100%, but at least a little bit. Do you think Thomas Downs purposefully spit in his face?
Probably. I would.
Well, I think that's what it was because he knew he was going to die anyways. Like, he's either going to kill me here or I'm going to die from the beating.
If some big cowboy came out and started beating the shit out of me over $30, I would spit in his face too. Yeah. If I knew I had an incredibly deadly disease.
Yeah. I believe there's a big theory that
like he makes a point about it too. Like, it's very done in a specific way that it's seemingly very intentional.
Even the way Arthur like wipes it, like
yeah, he's like, I'm used to this.
Yeah, but he didn't take into account until things were too late. So.
Well, they didn't know about germs back then.
Yeah.
You know, that was before, like, that was back in the day where they were like, all right, well, we got to cut your leg off, so just drink this bottle of whiskey and we're just going to go to town with an axe.
Yeah. It is really poetic, though. I do appreciate the way Rockstar tells a story and, like, the way they can have such a character with such plot armor and such, like, power and menace. And you expect, like, this guy's going to get blown away by a shotgun. Like, he's going to go out in a fight.
Yeah, and he just dies to a
disease.
Tuberculosis.
Obviously, you can get different endings where he technically does die in a fight, but all of it stems from his weakness due to tuberculosis.
But there's another thing, too, that's interesting about the Thomas Downs mission is, like, playing the game for the first time, they really make it a point that's, like, you got to sit with this for a while. And it's, like, I imagine on first playthrough, you think, that was a bad thing I did. And that's why they want you to sit with it at first. But then you go back and you're like, oh,
yeah,
this was the moment.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's even like, I think, I have to look at the scene. I'm hoping on my playthrough again, I catch it, where you're talking to Sister called Arena or whatever her name is. And he says, I got it beating some guy in an alley, is what I thought he said on my first playthrough.
Oh, no, he's just beating a guy to death for a few bucks.
For a few bucks. So, it's like, I wonder when in his sort of character arc, he kind of realizes, like, oh, that's what it's from. I'm assuming it's around the time of seeing Mrs. Downs again.
Yeah.
When he's like, oh, fuck, that was, yeah. Because to him, that's like a blip. Like, he doesn't particularly
That's
remember.
another day for him.
It's like, even like when he goes back, the whole, Leave Her in Black, whatever, that scene, when you go back after the bank robbery, he's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, he doesn't mention, like, he was sick and whatever. Like, he's just like, yeah, your dad's dead, fuck you, I don't care.
That's another guy, like, I think a guy like Arthur Morgan beats so many people to death that, like, one is not a significant thing.
So there's obviously a clear point in the narrative, which I'm assuming if you read the journal entries, I did it on my second playthrough, but I don't remember, it was already a year ago, but if you read the journal entries, there's probably a point where he writes, like, I must have got this from...
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I feel like there is something like that.
So I'll have to see once I get on this playthrough, when I pick it back up, when I get to the part where you are diagnosed, see what the journal entry says. It probably says something like, must have been from that Downs fella or something.
It's just been, fuck.
Fuck, man. God damn.
What the fuck, bro?
Mom made pizza rolls.
You son of a bitch, dude. What the fuck?
God. Speaking of pizza rolls, Chris, I think we should probably put the pizza in.
We should do that, but, yeah, I guess we'll do a quick intermission. We'll chuck that. Well, we gotta preheat the oven.
That's what I'm saying. We should just do it all at once. We'll just go preheat it and sit up there for a bit.
All right. Well, then, if
or
we're
you
gonna
can text your dad to preheat it.
If we're gonna do that, I want to finish up a couple of things, and then we'll just.
No, sir.
I want to finish up a couple of things. We're gonna kill this, and then we'll go do it.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
We're killing it.
All right. I had to make a very niche complaint.
Okay.
I have a very niche complaint to make.
It ripens.
Yes. I don't know who this is gonna hit, but if anyone has ever worked with the graphical user interface framework for Python called TK Interface, TK Inter, am I just stupid, or does that framework fucking suck dick? It's terrible, Jordan. Listen.
What's wrong with it, man?
Okay.
How bad is this thing?
When you use Android Studio to develop an Android application for the Android OS, for Android phones, right?
And tablets.
Every Android is kind of different. So what they have when you do graphical layouts, they have like relative layouts. So like you can position an element and have it like, oh, relative to the screen size, I want it to have this element to have a max size of this, and like it can, it can scale depending on, and then you position elements in reference to other elements.
Right.
And you can do it through XML, but you can also just do it through a GUI. And I don't know if something like this does exist for TK interface, but I haven't seen it, so who knows. You just have to do it through like experimentation, and the system for it sucks. It's so bad. Because you can't just position things where you want them to go. You just have to be like, I need this centered. You can't just do that.
Yeah.
Because it works on like a grid system.
Almost like CAD.
It's so ridiculous. Yeah. It's like, hang on. All right, I have 5 elements that go this way, so I need the grid size of 5. But if I do it this way, I have to adjust the weight of the grid rows and columns so that these elements scale appropriately. Just let me do it like I would normally, bro.
Yeah, that's weird. That's way too many steps.
It's stupid. Why do I need 40 lines telling me where to put a couple of buttons? You know?
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't need all that. And furthermore, the elements just don't work the way you would expect them to. So that's my issue. That's my niche complaint. Is that TK interface sucks to work with.
I think that gets the griping stamp of approval. That's a valid griping.
And if anyone comes across this who has worked with it, let me know if I'm just stupid. Because it's very possible.
I mean, in fairness, I could answer that question about you being stupid, but not in reference to TKO.
I've been reading the documentation, and I'm like, I think I'm doing everything right. But listen, I spent like 45 minutes troubleshooting a program the other day where I casted something I was working in Perl, I casted something to a scalar rather than an array. Scalar is a single value, an array is many values. Mm-hmm. So I was like, why the fuck isn't this working? I'm only getting one value back. And then I just realized, like, oh, let me change this $sign to an @ sign to make it an array. Imagine that.
Yeah.
I had to sit there with that one. I had to be like,
yeah.
So,
yeah,
that's my niche complaint.
Fair.
So, now we got to do a brief intermission.
Yeah. A word from our sponsor.
Let's put in a fucking, let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. We have the pizza.
We do.
The oven's preheated.
Okay, all right.
Great distribution of toppings.
Yeah. Remember that one lady? 9 pepperonis?
There's
Count 'em.
definitely more than 9 pepperonis on here. Oh, jeez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 pepperonis. I think there's an extra one under there. No, that's 18 pepperonis.
Oh, yeah. I think that's fair. This was $4.44.
Double the pepperonis that one review complained about.
Yeah.
Very good toppings.
Yeah, fair.
And this is supposed to
It's
go
pretty good.
Directly
No cardboard under it, right?
No.
Nah.
Directly onto the middle rack.
I thought it said metal.
22 minutes.
22 minutes.
Jordan, I don't know where this is going to be placed in the podcast, but I've been dealing with a lot of issues with my phone lately.
Oh, yeah?
My phone is, honestly, my phone's not even that old either.
It's not. You had just replaced your 9, right?
I replaced my Note 9. I got this in late 2021, I think.
Yeah. So it's just going on 2 years old.
It's not that fucking old, and the battery just shits the bed regularly. The performance is just dog shit all the time. I don't get it, but a new phone's like so much fucking money.
Yeah, we were looking a little before the show at like trade-ins, and yeah, that's rough.
Like, I guess I could trade this in. We looked and I could get like $200 off or something, a new phone, but like, I don't fucking do that. Like, it's I don't like spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
If they should be like, all right, listen. Let's put this into perspective, fat boy. This is like 4 trips to McDonald's for you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, I can maybe justify that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, this phone, the Fold, is $2,000. This is like 5 trips to McDonald's for you.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, that would probably work with you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you know.
This is like 4 Pancheros visits.
Because I'm down with like, I'll spend $800 incrementally.
Yeah.
In like $10, $20 transactions.
Yeah.
But like dropping $800 at once doesn't feel the same, but I've spent the same amount of money.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's the same, but it doesn't feel the same in the moment.
Exactly.
Chris out here just fucking getting that bag, getting his promotion. He's like, I can't spend $800. Fuck you, Chris.
I never said I can't. I just said I don't want to.
You fucking big bitch. You big baby bitch.
Very rude, I think. Listen. You know, I'm in a higher tax bracket now.
Oh, bro's gonna pay his way. God forbid. Sorry, us peasants, get our fucking tax return and don't owe. Sorry.
Listen, this is real. This may be the last year I get a return. I might have to owe taxes.
Get fucked, loser.
I'm gonna start committing tax fraud, I think.
Is it really fraud if no one finds out?
Listen, if I claim $0,
didn't that mean I made?
Like, how do they know? Like, how do they really know? Like, if I just didn't file my taxes, how would they know?
I don't think they would.
Fair, Listen,
honestly.
It's a joke. The one crime I think I would never, ever, under literally any circumstances whatsoever, commit would be tax fraud.
Yeah.
That's how they got Capone. If they could get Al Capone...
You're fucked.
I'm no Al Capone. I'm just some schmuck.
I had something real fucked up pop into my head.
I'm no Al Capone. They got his ass, so...
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I know you're a big phone guy.
Yeah, well, I was just saying, on the topic of phones, Chris, I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, right? I already know that our old boss, not the one we just had, one before him, right? I already know that he's going to hear this, and he's going to give me a lot of shit, because we had this debate at work where we talked about the folds. And I had said, like, if they ever incorporate the S Pen, I would get one. Or if they ever got, like, a really good trade-in deal where I could get it for, like, $500, I'd probably get one. But one of those needs to kind of come first. But I'm kind of at a point where my S24 is great in terms of being your phone, but like I want something a little different again. But I don't want to go back to the flip because there is a lot of trade-offs going that way. But from everything I've read, the Fold is very comparable to the S series. It's got some trade-offs that the cameras aren't quite as advanced, but you do get that S Pen functionality, and then you get good power, good battery, big phone, right? Right. So where the Flip was special to me was it was compact. But I sacrificed a battery for that. Now that I've gone back to the battery gods, where I literally fucking kill this phone never in a day. It's tough for me to want to go back to the Flip, knowing I'm going to be kind of in that battery hole again. So I think I want to try out a Fold, but I don't know how much I want to spend on the thing.
Whole Z Fold is kind of crazy, I will say.
Yeah, I not the 5, not the one that's out now, but I'm thinking come the time of August when the 6 gets announced inevitably. If they do enough to really make it stand out, I might pull the trigger on it. I don't know. I hope this is the year where they introduce the S Pens incorporated. That would be great, because my fear is if I do get a Fold, it might be my daily for a while because of the price. So I don't want to get it, and then all of a sudden the next year they fucking revolutionize it and make it infinitely better, And that could happen.
I think that's the problem with I've noticed this, right, with foldables, because that's kind of an emerging technology. I've noticed this a lot with electric vehicles. Kind of the similar realm of just an emerging technology. How electric vehicles, this is my thing with EVs, right? I've hated on Tesla a lot. I think Teslas are overrated. But right. I think, look at what EVs looked like 10 years ago. You wouldn't buy one of those fucking things.
You basically wouldn't even take one for free.
Yeah. And now, in 10 years, so much progress with EVs has been made that, they're a much more attractive option now. So my thought is, as gas cars get phased out and, as there's going to be a real time where I'm going to just be all right, I have to get an electric car now. What is it going to look like in 2034 with an EV? I think the charging network's going to be way more better.
And the range is going to be a big thing. Because that's something Tesla has improved a lot over the years. It used to be 100 miles. Now you can get 300-400 miles.
Yeah, the only crazy advantage with Teslas is that charging network. And now, so I guess there was there was some back and forth with coming to one standard, because there was
Electrify America,
the every other standard, and then there was Tesla.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't talk to each other. And now they were trying to get Teslas to convert to the standard that every other one used.
Which is shit, comparably.
But, just to get everyone on one standard, Elon Musk got his way, and now Tesla is the standard.
And it was the best, too.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
So now, like, all electric cars starting, I think, this year are going to be supported by Tesla's supercharger network, which is huge.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's great.
So think about in 2034 what that looks like when we really work out the kinks of, like, okay, I don't need 17 apps to charge my fucking car at 8 different pumps, at 8 different charging stations.
Yeah.
I can just go to the Tesla supercharger, or I can go to this, one other competitor brand, and I can just put a credit card there and charge the car. Not that you would really need to charge the fucking thing all that often on a supercharger like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But, and that's my thing with, like, something like a foldable. Think about what the first generation of the Fold looked like.
You peeled the fucking screen protector off and it died.
That shit was garbage.
Yeah.
That shit was trash.
It was more like a tech demo.
That was why you and I had such a heated debate about the original Galaxy Fold.
Yeah.
We got into a heated debate.
We did.
About this in math class.
Of all classes.
In senior year of high school. And and I will admit, that phone sucked. That phone was shit.
Yeah.
But, like, the new Fold, I was looking at, like, because I was looking at phones, and I was looking at the new Fold, and I was like, I don't want to buy this.
Yeah, it's too expensive.
I don't want to spend all this money, and I'm never going to fucking use the extended screen. I know myself well enough to be like, what the fuck am I going to use that for?
Right.
I'm fine with one screen. I don't need two, right? So if I watched a ton of video content on my phone, then maybe. But, like, or I did a lot of productivity work, I guess. But, like, I don't know. I'll just use a laptop for things like that.
Right. Yeah, that's one big thing that worries me is, like, I don't know how much I would actually use the inner screen, because the big selling point between the Flip and the Fold, besides the battery, was that the Flip, I liked it, but you couldn't use it until you opened it, so I was constantly opening it. And, like, sure, that's, like, kind of the best part about the phone.
Like, that's got to put wear on the hinge.
But it's wear on the hinge and the screen, and it's also, like, one-handed usability is kind of strange, but with the Fold, you do get a phone, and then you get a bigger phone, a tablet, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, like, I like that premise of, like, if you call, not that you ever call me, but if you did, I didn't have to unfold it, or I didn't have to put it on speaker, because that was the two options with the Flip. I can just answer it like a regular phone, and then say I want to watch a video, pop it open, right? So, like, I like that it's a phone first, and then a tablet, versus the Flip is a compact device, and then a phone. Right. That's how I felt about it. And then obviously the battery trade-off too. But.
With something like the Flip, I would eventually, I know for a fact I would just get sick of it and have it unfolded all the time.
I started leaving it on my desk at work unfolded like that. And that is, like, the one thing you don't want to do because of how fragile the screen is. That's when you fucking drop a pencil and it will stab it. Like, shit like that is what you don't want to do. And I started doing that towards the end of my life with the the Flip. Yeah. So I feel like with the Fold, it would negate that part of it. I would get the good battery life, and I would still get that fold factor that I really like. So
yeah, I might consider getting a new phone at some point. I might go on the new S24 that's coming out. I might get one of those depending on what deal I get. I might wait for that to come out and then get, like, an S23.
Have you looked into carrier deals? I just heard about someone getting $700 off of 24 through the carrier.
I looked at some of that. I don't know if I really want to deal with all that. Because this phone's unlocked, and I like the idea of having an unlocked phone.
I always buy unlocked phone, yeah. I forgot about that, actually.
And because I've had carrier locked phones before, and it's fine. It's just, it's going to be a nightmare. I'm going to have to go to the store, and I'm going to have to be like, hey, I need a new phone. And they're going to be like, okay, but have you tried the Dick and Balls package? And you can get that for only $39.95. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I want the phone.
Yeah.
Give me the phone. And you boot it up, and it has this dumbass little Verizon logo that comes up.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
Powered by Verizon.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
You know what's funny? I forgot about all that because I started just buying unlocked through Samsung. I've started doing all my purchases of Samsung stuff through them. They usually have the best deals for obvious reasons, and you get points and shit, and it's just way more seamless.
I would much rather have an unlocked phone, also because it's not as much of a nightmare that I can just go, okay, and just put my SIM.
Well, Verizon all of a sudden goes, we have to up our plans 50%. You're like, oh fuck. Unless you're in a contract, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So you could be like, all right, I'm going to whatever, T-Mobile, whatever it ends up being. That's what I liked about Unlocked, and it holds resale value better too if you actually sell it third party.
That's true, because you can disable a carrier lock, but you need to call the carrier. You need to verify ownership of the phone. You need to get the IMEI number, and then you have to convince them to release the IMEI number.
Yeah.
And sometimes they won't do it, and also sometimes they'll charge you for it.
Yeah.
Before you can use it on another carrier.
Yeah. My big thing is I like to own my phones too. Like, as much as I upgrade phones more often than I kind of like to, but I like to own my phone, so I always do unlocked, and I don't ever do a payment plan.
That's the other thing too. Is like, if I can have, there's so much shit that you have to pay for monthly that I'm like, if I can own one thing, that would be nice.
Yeah.
I'd like to own one thing, please.
Yeah. Like, that's the good thing is the phones I've had over the last 3-4 years where I've been upgrading pretty much every year. I went from a flip to a flip, then to an S, and then I might go back to a fold at some point. Like, every time I've done that, I've made sure I owned it. Like, we were talking before the show, I might do, if I get the fold, like a payment plan of 8 weeks, because why spend $1,000 at once when I can just do $200 like 4 times or 5 times?
Yeah, that was the kind of thing I was thinking.
That just makes more sense.
I can justify a $200 payment every pay period for
like a month.
Or
2.
4 pay periods. That's fine.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if I could just be like, all right, let me drop a bag on this. Even though objectively I can afford it, I just like, it hurts.
That's the big thing I just wanted to say too, is like, I don't want to sound like one of those people who's like, I'm going to upgrade phones, but I need to get in the payment plan because I can't afford it. I could buy every fold they've made currently cash and not even think about it.
Yeah, like
I don't want to.
I have the money, I just don't like spending it. And that's a big reason why. So I'm thinking, because I want to do a bigger purchase, but like, I'm also thinking like, do I want to get a new phone, or do I want to invest and like get like a nice camera or something?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. That's also true.
And then just say fuck it, and then rip this open and replace the battery on it or something.
Yeah.
So that might be a way I go as well.
Yeah. Well, that's a big thing with me too, is like, even like looking at cars, I keep coming across all these like Mazda 3s and these Fits, and they're like $5,000, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, I could buy that right now, but I'm like, I don't want to. Like, I don't have a reason to, unless my car just finally died. Like, then I'd be like, all right, I guess I got to spend $5,000 because I'm not going to buy a beater to replace a car that's reliable, right?
Yeah.
I would want to get another halfway decent car, so I probably would have to spend $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. But like, to do that now, even though I technically on paper could, I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'd rather just get something, sub $3,000 and call it a day.
Spending money hurts, man.
It does. Yeah.
Spending money is painful.
And it's such a weird feeling, because I feel like throughout high school when I was working, total opposite. It was like I made $108 and somehow I spent $110. Like, I figured that shit out.
I think that's where that mentality for me comes from. Where like,
I think so too.
When
honestly.
I first started working and making halfway decent money for being 17, I was like, I can get this.
Yeah, like I was buying VR headsets fucking left and right.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And that's why I stopped buying cars as much as I did. Like, I kept buying cars. I'm like,
this is like 6 in a year.
Like, this is not sustainable. This is not sustainable. So I've decided, I've bought the Accord. I own that outright. I have a title for it.
Yeah.
I own it. Nobody else has any other share of this vehicle but me.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to buy another vehicle. Because I'm already I'm already taking on a vehicle in the fact that my dad got a replacement for his truck, and I'm taking on that truck because I need to keep it alive, because it may be a shit box, but it's a 5-speed manual pickup truck, and I just love that. I loved driving that truck so much, but I can't do it right now because it needs a ton of work.
Yeah.
I need to do calipers all around. I gotta flush out the brake lines. It needs tires bad. It needs tires bad, like so much so that I'm gonna have to put it on jack stands and bring the tires somewhere to get replaced.
Yeah.
It needs tires real bad. The exhaust fell off the manifold, so I gotta fix that. But I'm waiting for warmer and less rainy weather.
Yeah, it's been brutal.
So I can't take on another project in terms of that. Like, and even that's gonna be like, oh well, I could spend $800 and do this.
Yeah.
Why would I do all that?
That's true.
So I gotta learn to be a little bit looser, but also in a smart way.
Yeah, smart and loose is probably the best way.
I gotta be like, okay, I think I play too conservative of like, well, what if I suddenly need every dollar I have right now?
Yeah.
What if my car and my house and every item I own explodes tomorrow?
Yeah.
I have this like irrational fear of like, what if for some reason I needed a shit ton of money right now? What if I got my cat got kidnapped for ransom by the mafia? I don't know what he does.
No.
And they were like, we need exactly down to the penny how much you have in your checkings and savings accounts right now, or else the cat is gonna get it.
He's gonna take an acid bath.
We're gonna turn him into a cat of a normal weight.
All right. Grandiose reveal. Hopefully there's not too much torque on that.
That'll be fine.
Yeah, you're doing it the right way. You're good. I'm gonna be honest with you. That looks really good.
Textbook. Couldn't have gone better.
That's very good. What are your thoughts?
I think it looks great.
Looks good.
I'm gonna let this whole setup cool for, I don't know, a little while.
Yeah.
Pizza time.
It's pizza time.
It's pizza time, Jordan. We'll probably throw up some B-roll that we did. We made the pizza in my kitchen. That's where I make food usually. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'll be honest, it's pretty good. It's pretty good looking. Yeah. It looks fine. We both got ourselves, like, I'll run some B-roll now. We both got ourselves a couple of slices.
Yeah. I did get slightly gypped on the Roni side. But that's okay.
Listen, when we cut the pizza...
It's just the way it cut.
Yeah, the pepperonis kind of fell into the cracks.
Nothing like a good pepperoni in your crack, you know?
But also, like, I will say, this is perfectly serviceable looking.
Yeah. I would say this is honestly a level above serviceable. This is actually like, good in my eyes.
This is like a fucking Instagram post right here.
Dude, get your meat off the screen, bro. They don't want to see your meat this long.
Close-up of my meat.
I'm concerned, though, Chris. Italian seasoning, it may be too spicy.
It might be.
Yeah. You see all this little seasoning right over here? It's going to be just a little too much.
It might be too much for our palate.
Might burn my mouth.
You know? And look how red that Roni is. That's
a red Roni, dude.
That might be rough.
It's a red rocket.
Is that what pepperonis are made of?
Yeah. Actually, this one said it was made of chicken, beef, and pork on the box.
What part of those animals is red?
I don't know. Their sphincter, maybe?
It's made of chicken sphincter.
Yeah, it's literally just a fucking get a potato peeler and just layers of the sphincter, dude.
All right. Let's eat these things, huh?
Fuck yeah.
Hello? I'm telling you, this phone is shitting the bed.
Yeah. All right. Good stiffness to the...
Yeah, the crust definitely rose. Gotta say.
I don't know what
crust rose, self-rose.
We didn't have to rise it.
We didn't have to rise it on our own. It was pretty risen. Decent thickness all around. I could bust out the calipers and measure it, but, you know, I don't have them on hand. They're in my bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of, like, holes in it either. It's, like, very solid crust, too.
We cooked this perfectly to the instructions, by the way. Followed them to a T. So...
yeah, that's perfect.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So...
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Want to touch... All right, good. That's excellent.
For a frozen pizza, it's pretty good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like frozen pizza usually kind of misses the mark that a fresh pizza would have, but it's good enough. Mm-hmm. If you got a hankering for some pizza, and this is what you got, I would not be upset.
Yeah. I'll be honest, those are $4.44. Like, that's well worth it. Unless you get a Domino's deal where you get, like, the $5 mediums or something. I would say those taste a bit better, obviously, but
like,
they're really good.
Yeah, this shit ain't that bad.
It certainly isn't bad, no matter what way you cut it.
Just the crust a bit maybe needs a little more flavor, I will say. And I think there's a bit too much sauce on here.
I can get behind that.
But compared to the reviews we saw, I was expecting to walk into a horror show.
Yeah, and the cheese did say made with real whole milk. And it kind of does taste different than a lot of the frozen pizza cheeses I've had. It does taste legit.
It tastes like the other 98% of the milk was added in.
I will say, yeah, if this crust had anything like butter, garlic butter, like, that'd be way better. But
Yeah, I think with this, right, because it's cheap, you spend another couple of bucks on, just a couple of, maybe a jar of garlic, and then some butter, and you brush that on here
yeah.
when it's done. Might really jazz this up, I will say. And for $6 after that, you're laughing, you know?
Yeah. Color me amused.
Yeah, I just I struggle to find any problem, like a ton of problems with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think what we can really say for certain here is the people who review products on Walmart are full of shit.
Yeah, my big question, Chris, is, right, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, just for this one hypothetical.
Okay.
Right? Hypothetically,
Yes.
that's the new recipe, and that's the bad one. Then what the fuck does the good one taste like?
Like, that shit probably gave you, like, telekinesis.
For real. Like, that's what, yeah.
Like, there's no way this is the bad one,
No.
you know?
And they did specifically say blue box, and we got a blue box.
We got the blue box.
Not the green one.
So I don't understand.
And I will say, there is a chance, I'll give them another little benefit of the doubt, there is a chance that they really did redo the recipe, because if you go to Walmart, Chris, the one right over here, and you go through the left door, you have all the freezer stuff. It's right there on display. Shelves of this exact pizza. So they must have got a shipment or something. So maybe something did change, but I don't think it's bad. No matter which way you cut it.
Maybe they reworked the reworked recipe.
Maybe.
So.
Could you imagine if we got in post rework of the rework?
Yeah, this is like beta footage.
This is 2.5.
This is like a pre-release of the new version, maybe.
Yeah.
So, I give this for frozen pizza. We got to think in the realm of relative to other frozen pizzas. This is like an 8.5. This is a solid frozen. I've had much worse frozen pizza than this.
I've had much worse for more money.
True.
For $4.44, that was the exact total. Hell of a deal.
Yeah. Nothing to complain about.
Like, I will be getting this in lieu of some other brands that I usually get.
Fair, yeah.
This actually was a step above those.
This just makes me think that maybe we should do a frozen pizza tier list, like a roundup.
Maybe that's the next segment.
The only thing about that is that shit would take hours. Because now, think that we started making this at like 11:45, and it's like 12:40 now.
Yeah, assuming we can get 2 pizzas at once, because you have 2 rats, right? Yeah.
Like, that shit's going to take a billion years. So, maybe if we get like a sponsorship from like a kitchen supply company, like a industrial kitchen supply
with
company
8 rats,
with like a ton of or like a pizza oven sponsorship, maybe we'll run that.
I got it, Chris. We bring this shit to Domino's. Like, hey, can you make these?
We bring frozen pizzas to Domino's to ask them to make them.
Yeah.
I bet minimum wage workers are at such a stage of being over it that I bet they would do it if it wasn't busy.
Yeah, if you give them like a $5 tip.
Yeah, if you went in on like a Thursday night, no one's in the place, and you go, hey, listen, I'll give you each $20 if you cook these frozen pizzas in your oven.
All like 8 of them.
All 8 of them, just run them through. Each of you gets $20. How does that sound? And I'm like, fuck it, we do it for free. We don't care.
Yeah.
Like, Domino's workers, I imagine, probably are just over it at this point.
Yeah, probably. But no, I don't know. That was inherently good. I think I think next time we either do like a head-to-head matchup or we'll think of something. But
yeah, there might be more pizza content in the future.
Yep. Yeah, pizza might become a staple.
Might become a staple.
Yeah. I wonder if I could make our thumbnail for this week instead of our brain logo. It's holding a pizza.
It's holding, cool. It's holding like the Walmart pizza.
Yeah. There you go. I don't know. I got nothing bad to say. Like I thought that would be more provocative. I thought I'd be swearing about the pizza.
I thought I would be. I thought I'd be here cutting a promo.
Yeah. And all I gotta say is it's good. It's lawful good. Like
buy this.
Yeah.
It gets the official Synapse Misfire seal of approval.
Yeah. Watch, we'll grow like a fucking third limb. I mean, I could use that right about now anyway, so.
Yeah, no, I feel like a third limb would only be of use to me.
Yeah.
Like if I had a third arm, like
that you could actually control it.
Like coming out of the center of my chest or something, I would get so much more stuff done.
Yeah.
I could do 1.5 times the work I already do.
Yeah.
And no one expects a guy with a third arm. Think about it, right? If we say we got into a fight, and then all of a sudden I pull my shirt off and there's another arm under there, and you just get in the course of you being like, huh? You get punched in the mouth by a third arm, and the third arm, I'm only gonna train the third arm. It's gonna be, I'm gonna have like 21-inch biceps on this third arm.
Yeah, I like this idea of this assumption of like you and I are in a grapple and somehow I'm even holding on, but just hypothetically, we're in this grapple holding each other's shoulders, like pushing. I'm like, yeah, fucking, I'm gonna kill you, and all of a sudden you just bust out with this third arm and uppercut me right in the jaw.
Yeah.
Just neck broken instantly.
I don't foresee. I think a lot of grappling is leg muscles, so I don't foresee a reality in which we would be an even match.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say, my legs, my calves, I got some cannons on there, dude.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
I have some
them
guns.
shit's been working for 22 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I've been fat for so long, my legs are crazy.
Your legs were like, if I don't adapt, I won't survive. Check this shit out.
Yeah, you got to adapt.
22-inch biceps versus 23-inch fucking calves.
Yeah, dude, my pants size is crazy. I got to wear bell bottoms.
Not because of the style.
Just to fit my massive calves in there.
Yeah, fit the dogs.
And that's the only reason I can't run very long, but I can get going fast enough because I can propel I got like these fucking massive legs and I can just.
Yeah.
But after maybe 15, 20 feet, it's over.
Yeah. At that point, it's just inertia keeping you going.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no more acceleration.
Yeah, I got to slow down. It's like I got to turn on my Jake brake. Slow down.
Oh, my God, man. Yeah. Buy the pizza.
Buy this. It's good.
Yeah. It wasn't spicy, by the way. Italian seasoning?
Yeah, Italian seasoning, no complaints. Could have done with a little more, honestly.
Yeah. Especially on the crust. Yeah.
A couple of more Italian seasonings on there.
Yeah. Only complaint about the pizza is it didn't teach me Italian, I will say.
Do you expect that out of a normal pizza?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. We should probably talk to a doctor to get you on some medication if you've been talking to pizza.
Really? I mean, I've been doing it for like 15 years, so what's the difference?
Hey Google, when does schizophrenia manifest?
All right, yeah. End of segment. Yeah.
And it was a good one. It's short but simple.
Short and sweet, just like me, baby. I wet my nose. My nose is leaking. Pizza made my nose leak.
Well, if we're gonna have a short and sweet segment, and Jordan says it's just like him, next time we gotta have a fat and bitter segment.
Fat and bitter. That's heinous.
Maybe we'll have another beer segment.
I was just gonna. I was thinking that actually.
We'll do another beer segment. That's
like a jumbo can.
A fat and bitter one.
Yeah. Maybe.
So, I think all round good segment. Next time we'll do something else. Yeah. So, if for some reason you enjoyed this thing and want to see more,
you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and the RSS feed. Also on YouTube and Spotify with the video platform. And as always, you can contact us via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Send us your comments, questions, concerns, death threats, and most important, Little Kitty, Big City, stuff, news, hype, merch, etc., etc., etc. And as always, Instagram, TikTok. And if you heard me doing a wee little chuckle as I was reading that out for our audio listeners, Chris was making dumb gobsmacked faces. So, just like that one you can't see.
So, yeah, that's it for us.
Yeah, the last episode ever, actually.
Yeah, no, I'm killing Jordan after this.
That's fair.
I'm gonna skin his ass alive right now.
Specifically my ass.
Yep, and I'm gonna staple it to the wall.
He's trying to make assless chaps, but they're not actually assless. Just
my
ass on the outside.
I'm gonna make chapless asses.
All right, I'm out of here. Before my ass gets chapped.